Global Martial Soul. Start awakening Deathwing. Chapter 91. However, he should be fine. Zixi put his right hand around his chest and muttered to himself. Human beings absorb too much divine blood, and the final fate is the same as that of fierce beasts, they will explode and die. Judging from the current situation, Suyi obviously did not explode and die. Instead, it seems to have entered a special state. Forget it, with Suyi's character, since he said he's fine, he should be fine. Zixi breathed a sigh of relief, looked at the giant cocoon, and found that there was no movement, and then began to collect exotic flowers and plants in the cave. There are many exotic flowers and plants in the cave, and it took her almost an hour. I only collected half of it. There's still half of it left, it should be almost here. Zixi wiped the fine sweat from his white forehead. Exotic flowers and plants are not so easy to collect. There are several kinds of flowers and plants, and she used her soul power to finally pull them out of the soil. I don't know when Suyi will come out. Zixi glanced sideways. It's already 9 o'clock in the evening. Originally, the cave was dimly lit, but she placed a strong tactical light source next to it. The entire cave is illuminated as brightly as day. With the help of this light, she could easily see that the giant cocoon Suyi had transformed into was still there. It's just that the color of the giant cocoon has changed from the original light white to golden red. 873. At this time, Uncle Chen and Aunt Zhang should be here too. Zixi glanced at the time and murmured, "Miss, are you okay? Where are the beast god cultists? Come out and die." At this time, two figures exuding a powerful aura suddenly rushed into the cave. It was the two guards arranged by Ji Wen. The two guards are a man and a woman. Both appeared to be in their 30s and 40s, and were wearing black combat uniforms. The aura is sharp and powerful. The moment the two appeared in the cave, the powerful aura enveloped the entire cave. Once someone dares to make a change, there will be thunder. I really can't tell. Zixi smiled slightly, looking at a man and a woman who appeared. Walking slowly to the front of him, he cordially called out, "Uncle Chen, Aunt Zhang." The guards arranged by his father Ji Wen. They are a middle-aged man named Chen Bing, and a middle-aged woman named Zhang Berry. Although they are guards, both of them are her elders. So, she has been shouting like this. The creak. Zhang Berry smiled, glanced around, and said doubtfully, "Didn't you activate the Horcrux? Where is the enemy?" "Already killed," Zixi replied, and then pointed to the corpses scattered throughout the cave. "That's right, Brooke. 2 extraordinary 9th ranks and 1 Earth Evil rank were actually killed by you." Chen Bing looked at it and said in surprise. Even though there are already 3 corpses, the powerful perception of being a Tiangong rank soul warrior. He still easily discerned the strength of the 3 before their lives. "Chen uncle, I'm only at the 4th level of extraordinary now, how can I have such strong strength?" Zixi heard the other party's teasing intentions, and couldn't help making a small mouth, and said coquettishly, "Uncle Chen and Aunt Zhang, although they looked like they were only in their 30s or 40s. But the real age is already 50 or 60. It can be said that I watched myself grow up. In front of these two, she was even more casual than in front of her father." "Haha, I'm kidding, every joke." Chen Bing laughed and said, "Who saved you then? We must thank him very much." He glanced around and did not see the existence of other people. "Is it already gone?" When he was wondering, Zixi said, "No, it's inside the giant cocoon in front of you." Chen Bing and Zhang Berry were both taken aback at the same time. That strange giant cocoon was the first thing they saw when they came in. Didn't realize there was someone in there. "Xiaoxi, what's the situation?" Zhang Berry frowned slightly. He swallowed a whole drop of divine blood, and he became like this. "I don't know exactly what happened." Zixi spread his hands and said helplessly, "Swallowed a whole drop of divine blood? Are you sure?" Zhang Berry cried out in horror. A whole drop of divine blood, even a Tiangong rank soul warrior would not dare to use it in one go. "Sure." Zixi looked complicated. Suyi is a big villain. Not a bit of divine blood was left for her, she swallowed it all. "The person who saved you is so powerful, could it be the peak of Tiangong?" "But it's impossible. In this Dongjiang wilderness area, even Disha level soul warriors rarely come here." Zhang Berry frowned and asked quickly, "Xiaoxi, Do you know the origin of the other party? How strong is it? Of course I know. His name is Su Yi, and he is a student of Mordor Soul Warrior University. Ji Zixi walked aside, bent his knees and squatted down, while his full chest was squeezed out into a seductive shape. A strange flower and weed that looked like a mimosa was gently pulled out by her. This herb is called Qingxiansao, and it can relieve mental fatigue after taking it directly. It can also be used to make Qingxian Dan. Ha, you're still just a student. Zhang Berry was really surprised. I thought that the opponents were at least Tiangong rank powerhouses. Unexpectedly, he was still a student. By the way, his strength is at the 6th level of extraordinary, and he is the same age as me, a martial soul that just awakened this year. Ji Zixi's melodious voice sounded lightly, but it fell on the ears of the two of them like thunder. Extraordinary 6th grade, same age. If any of these two keywords appeared at random, the two of them would not be so concerned. But combined together, the meaning is instantly different. And the other party also killed 2 extraordinary rank 9 and 1 earth evil rank soul warrior just now. Extraordinary 6th rank at the same age as you. Is there such a monstrous character? Chen Bing next to him stared, and couldn't help but exclaimed and asked. You know, behind Ji Zixi is Ji Wen, who is on the king rank. From childhood to adulthood, I don't know how many natural treasures I have taken. After awakening the martial soul and practicing the soul energy guidance method, he directly reached the 3rd level of extraordinary. Now, it is about to start hitting the 5th order of extraordinary. However, there are actually people of the same age who have already reached the 6th level of extraordinary. This is beyond the description of a monster. I saw it with my own eyes, how can it be fake? Ji Zixi pouted and said, when he was sleepy, he added. By the way, he is the SSS Martial Soul Awakener who caused a sensation this year. SSS Level Martial Soul Awakener. Zhang Berry also knew the meaning of the SSS Level Martial Spirit, so she couldn't help being startled, and immediately said with a wry smile. My eldest lady, can't you finish the sentence in one breath? You were taken aback. Hey, I've said it now. Ji Zixi stuck out his tongue cutely, hummed softly, and started to collect exotic flowers and herbs in a good mood. When she recognized Su Yi's identity before, she was also surprised. Seeing that Aunt Zhang was also startled now, she naturally felt secretly refreshed. You can't surprise her alone, can you? Sister Berry, I just looked at the corpse of that earth demon warrior. There are obvious signs of fighting and killing on his body, which should be caused by fighting with soul warriors of the same level, or low-level soul warriors. Quote. Chen Bing walked back and said with a smile. That little guy should be a soul fighter who takes the body training route, with a strong body. Extraordinary 6th level soul power is not that important. Quote. There are 2 types of soul fighters. One is to take the soul power route, using powerful soul power to accompany soul skills to suppress the enemy. These are the routes most revenants take. There is another route that is relatively rare, that is, the forging route. Soul fighters who take this route pay more attention to physical fitness training. Generally, only those Wei warriors who have awakened and strengthened their physical fitness will take this route. Although I said that, after only 3 months of awakening, my physical fitness has been strengthened enough to fight with the soul fighters of the earth evil rank. This is too scary. Quote. Zhang Berry couldn't help but softly marveled, and looked at the giant cocoon in the cave. SSS level martial soul, the physical fitness of killing the earth-shaking rank soul fighters, the new generation of soul fighters. All of a sudden, she became very curious about Su Yi. Such a genius. In the future, he may be able to join his own team. Roar. Just as she was thinking like this, a huge dragon roar sounded from inside the giant cocoon. Rumble. The entire cave was shaken violently. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, dot 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 dot. The stalactite bells at the top of the cave fell one after another and hit the ground. Go. This cave is about to collapse. Zhang Berry frowned slightly, and her powerful soul power burst out suddenly, blocking the falling stones from the top of the cave. Pulling Ji Zixi, who subconsciously covered her ears, rushed out of the cave. Boom. As soon as the 3 rushed out, the entire cave collapsed. Roar. Before the 3 of them had time to check what happened, they heard a thunderous dragon roar sounding again. With the cave as the center, the invisible sound wave rolls out and spreads. Accompanied by the sound of the dragon chant, in the dark sky above the cave, monstrous golden red flames suddenly condensed, illuminating the surroundings as brightly as day. A phantom of a huge black dragon with a height of more than 20 floors slowly condenses out. It has a ferocious dragon head, wings that cover the sky and the sun, and a pair of bright golden red eyes without a trace of human emotion. This giant dragon phantom is exactly Su Yi's Deathwing martial soul. Roar! Ah! Depressed roars sounded from all over the Dongjiang wilderness area. Under the ferocious dragon's power full of oppression, countless beasts lowered their heads at the same time, not daring to look at the phantom of Deathwing in the sky. As if just looking at it, you will suffer a catastrophe. Is this a different phase of the martial soul? But no one is awakening the martial soul now. Zhang Berry showed a look of surprise and uncertainty. Sister Berry, have you forgotten? The abnormality of the martial soul will not only appear when the martial soul is awakened, but also when the martial soul evolves. Chen Bing said solemnly, it should be that Su Yi touched the evolution of his own martial soul after swallowing the blood of the gods. Martial soul evolution. Ji Zixi on the side froze for a moment. Su Yi's Deathwing spirit is already the most apex SSS spirit. If it evolves further, what level will it reach? Dongjiang Supply Base. Room 2303 on the 23rd floor. This room is one of the most luxurious rooms in the supply base. It costs up to 30,000 Huasha coins a night. A super large space of up to 300 square meters, 3 huge bedrooms, and a large living room. Coupled with the giant floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire Dongjiang wilderness area. The price is also reasonable. Wow! The bathroom door of the guest room opened, and a girl walked out along with the hot mist. She has a slender figure, and a simple loose short sleeve is propped up high by her full chest. The pair of thighs under him are even more round and slender, and the white is a bit conspicuous. Her facial features are exquisite, and her pretty face naturally exudes a touch of indifference. This kind of indifference does not seem abrupt, but gives people a feeling that it should be. With this aura, she looked a little arrogant, just like a phoenix that despises everything. After stepping out of the bathroom, she briefly wiped her slightly damp hair with a towel. Then dry it completely with a hair dryer before walking to the living room. Different from the common room, the living room of this deluxe room is 80 square meters. At this time, 4 young girls were sitting on the exquisite sofa in the living room. One of them, with short shoulder-length hair and a lively smile, was talking and laughing with a tall girl next to him. Beside these 2 people, there is a pair of sisters who are very similar in appearance, with single ponytails and double ponytails respectively. The 4 girls were all wearing loose pajamas. During the occasional action, there are still a lot of happy moments leaked out. The captain is out. Xiaoran, you've finally finished washing. Seeing the black-haired girl approaching, the eyes of all 4 girls on the sofa lit up. Has the harvest been counted during this period? A smile appeared on Song Churan's indifferent face. Sitting on the sofa nearby, a pair of long legs are stacked together, covering the key points. It's all counted. Chen Weiying nodded heavily, and said excitedly. During the 3 months of vacation, we went to the wilderness area 5 times, with an average stay of 10 days each time. During this period, we killed more than 700 beasts in total. All the beast materials and some rare medicinal materials were added together, and a total of 17.32 million Huasha coins were sold. Hearing this number, the other 3 women were also slightly excited. Last summer, they also entered the wilderness area. But at that time, they only earned more than 2 million in 3 months. Now that 1 year has passed, this number has directly increased by more than 8 times. This also shows from the side that everyone in the Blazing Phoenix team has made great progress this year. Especially Song Churan, the captain, has entered the 9th rank of extraordinary. More than 17 million, it is indeed a large minister. Song Churan also smiled slightly. In terms of her background, 17 million Huasha coins is actually nothing. But this is what she earned from fighting desperately with her teammates and fierce beasts, so it is naturally different from the resources given by her family. In a few days, school will start. According to the plan, tomorrow we will leave the Dongjiang wilderness area and return to school. So, before going back to school, let's divide the money first. Ji Zixi took over the laptop on the coffee table. The above account has been logged into the team treasury account, and the balance is astonishingly more than 17 million. Zhao Ling was almost seriously injured this time, and she contributed a lot, and she was divided into 3.2 million Huasha coins. Chen Weiying is also good, sub -2.7 million Huazhen City. You two sisters, Li Qingwan and Li Qingyu, each have 2.3 million Huasha coins, and I get 6.82 million Huasha coins. Is this arrangement okay? Song Churan called the names one by one. No problem. The four girls nodded quickly. It seems unfair that Song Churan monopolizes 6.82 million. But you have to know, this is an extraordinary rank 9 soul warrior. Without Song Churan, they couldn't have made so much money. It is also impossible to walk out of the wilderness area unharmed every time. It can be said that Song Churan is the soul of the entire team. The share is 6.82 million, as it should be. Okay, that's the arrangement. Song Churan nodded slightly. Ding dong, ding dong. After a while, the SMS reminders that the money has arrived in the account rang one after another. A one-time account entry of 2.7 million is not far away from making a full 10 million. Chen Weiying, who saw the increase in balance, was a little excited and then hummed coquettishly. It seems that our earning speed is quite fast, not slower than that guy Su Yi. At the beginning, Su Yi made more than 17 million in one go, but it made her depressed for a long time. Now that she finally made a fortune, she felt a little better. Hehe, Su Yi can earn more than 17 million yuan at a time, you can't compare to others. Zhao Ling on the side began to pour cold water on it. Ling Ling, can't you let me immerse myself in the joy of making money for a while longer? You must expose me mercilessly. Looks like I'm going to give you a good meal. Chen Weiying rushed over viciously. Soon, he and Zhao Ling got into trouble, and the occasional leaks of springtime were extremely attractive. Su Yi, 1 month has passed, he should have become stronger. 1. Song Churan also thought of that tough junior, and murmured in a low voice. As an S-rank martial soul awakener, she naturally has her own pride. But this pride is worthless in front of the mighty Su Yi. Roar. At this moment, a huge dragon chant resounded, shocking the entire room, trembling slightly. What sound? What happened? Chen Weiying and Zhao Ling, who were fighting, were startled, and Song Churan frowned slightly. This movement, could it be that some powerful beast appeared in the Dongjiang wilderness area? Impossible. The Dongjiang wilderness area is just a small wilderness area, and it is impossible for there to be beasts above tier 3. Is there something special about it? Don't worry, it shouldn't be a particularly powerful beast. Song Churan said a word of comfort, then looked to the right. The remaining 4 girls of the Blazing Phoenix team also turned their heads quickly. Through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows there, you can see the entire Dongjiang wilderness area. But at this time, the Dongjiang wilderness area was pitch black, and nothing unusual could be seen. It seems that nothing special happened. Chen Weiying was a little puzzled, and when she was about to go to the Dongjiang Wilderness Forum to have a look, a dragon chant that was much stronger than before sounded again. Roar. Accompanied by the dragon's chant as loud as thunder, outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the sky above the Dongjiang Wilderness area was slightly brightened. Golden red flames surged out, and soon lit up the sky above the entire Dongjiang Wilderness area. At the same time, accompanied by the depressing howling of ferocious beasts in the wilderness area, a huge phantom of a black dragon gathered over the Dongjiang Wilderness area. This black dragon is surrounded by golden and red flames, and its huge dragon head is extremely ferocious. As soon as it appeared, it was as if the monarch had descended, and the entire Dongjiang Wilderness area was shrouded in a strong sense of oppression. This is Su Yi's martial soul. Song Churan's complexion changed slightly, and he was a little surprised and uncertain. She has seen the vision of Deathwing's martial soul on the internet several times. And it was more than once that he came into close contact with Su Yi's Deathwing martial soul. She naturally recognized that the huge black dragon phantom is Su Yi's martial spirit. Hey, this is Su Yi's martial spirit. Why did it become so big? This scene, why is it similar to the vision of Wuhun? No, this power is stronger than the martial soul vision. What the hell is going on? How could Su Yi's martial spirit appear in the sky above the Dongjiang wilderness area? The remaining 4 girls of the Blazing Phoenix team also recognized Suyi's martial spirit, and they couldn't help talking in shock. Look, the forum said that many ferocious beasts were affected by the phantom of the Black Dragon and returned to the forest. Chen Weiying, who just logged into the forum, exclaimed. Really, I saw it too. The ferocious beast retreats. This is an unprecedented situation. This is the 670 made by Suyi. It's amazing, comma. As soon as Zhao Ling, Li Qingwan, and Li Qingyu logged into the forum, they saw countless posts swiping the screen. It's all about the Black Dragon vision in the wilderness sky. Junior Suyi, your movements are too far off. Song Churan looked at the huge Black Dragon phantom outside through the floor-to-ceiling windows, feeling a sense of loss in his heart. Not sure how Suyi did it though. But it can also be seen from this that the opponent's strength has definitely increased again. I didn't expect to encounter such a situation after working overtime today. On the 10th floor of the supply base, Manager Wang stood by the window, looking at the ferocious Black Dragon phantom shrouded in golden red flames over the Dongjiang wilderness area. Silently lighting a cigarette for himself, he looked rather emotional. The large Horcrux detective eye on the roof of the supply base did not issue an alarm. It means that this is not the movement caused by the beast. And judging from his experience, this is very likely to be a vision of the martial soul. Although I don't know who condensed such a huge martial spirit vision, as long as it is not a sensation caused by fierce beasts, it will be fine. FK, hurry up, take a picture, this is a rare and shocking scene. Hiss, this Black Dragon martial soul, I seem to have seen it somewhere. As soon as the martial spirit comes out, all beasts retreat, because not all rooms have floor-to-ceiling windows. Therefore, in the square in front of the supply base building, countless soul warriors gathered, and they made bursts of exclamation from time to time. Many people took out their electronic devices and recorded this shocking scene. The phantom of the Black Dragon is extremely huge, and it is night again. The light that bloomed from the gold flame almost radiated the entire Dongjiang district. Countless citizens walked down the residential buildings and looked at the Dongjiang wilderness area, and at the same time they were talking excitedly. It can be said that such a phantom of the Black Dragon caused a sensation in the entire Dongjiang district. Suyi has never felt like this. He felt himself getting big, big. Looking down, you can see the huge Dongjiang wilderness area under your feet. You can even see the faint fluorescence emitted by the large Horcrux reconnaissance eye on the roof of the supply base building in the distance. The breeze was blowing slightly, and he could see the clouds drifting in front of his eyes. This is a wonderful feeling, like a dream. Just when he wanted to experience this wonderful feeling carefully, he suddenly felt that his body began to shrink rapidly. Clouds, flames, everything around him turned into radiance. In the blink of an eye, Suyi's consciousness became blurred and he fell into a deep sleep again. Can a WSSS level martial soul continue to evolve? Isn't that the highest level martial soul? Before the cave collapsed, Zixi looked at the huge phantom of Deathwing, his pretty face full of shock. Of course, Chen Bing smiled and said mysteriously. Tu Lao's level of martial spirit is set artificially. SSS level is just a general level. In fact, different SSS level martial souls have different powers. Let's put it this way, if Suyi was originally at the SSS level of common, he could have evolved to become Rare's SS level, or even the top SSS level. I see. Zixi nodded thoughtfully. According to this, it is really possible for Suyi's martial soul to continue to evolve. At this moment, with a soft sound, the huge Deathwing martial soul slowly dissipated. The monstrous golden red flames also quickly turned into fire elements and disappeared, and the entire sky above the Dongjiang wilderness area once again returned to a pitch-black appearance. Evolution over. Zixi's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly looked forward. I saw a tall figure standing up from the ruins of the cave. With the bright moonlight, it can be seen that this is a tall young man with a handsome appearance. I was dreaming just now. Suyi came back to his senses and looked around, only to find that he was standing in a dilapidated giant cocoon. There are also huge gravels and broken stalactites around. I remember, I just swallowed the blood of the gods, and then lost consciousness. Only then did Suyi remember what had just happened. Suyi, how do you feel now? Zixi walked up with slender steps, looking Suyi up and down curiously. Compared with before, Su Yi's aura seemed to be restrained a bit. Not as sharp as before. But on the contrary, Su Yi in this state has not become harmless to humans and animals. In her perception, it has become even more dangerous. How does it feel? Su Yi wondered. Your martial soul. Just now you inspired a vision of a martial soul hundreds of meters high. We deduce that your martial soul should have evolved under the influence of divine blood. Ji Zixi explained with a smile. His mellow voice was full of envy. Martial soul evolution, that is a rare thing. Su Yi met so easily. Martial soul evolution. Su Yi was stunned. It turned out that it wasn't a dream just now, but my consciousness was transferred to the phantom of the black dragon in the vision of Wuhun. It feels really good to look down on the world from a height. Realizing this, he showed a hint of aftertaste, and then summoned his Deathwing martial soul. His whole body was filled with golden soul power, and the hideous shadow of Deathwing appeared behind him. Before Su Yi had time to carefully check the changes in Wuhun, he discovered a very serious problem. The soul power in his body is much thicker than before the deep sleep. Am I promoted? Su Yi frowned and shook his head. It seems that I have to adapt to the soaring soul power again. His current soul power has reached the 7th level of extraordinary. Su Yi, this guy is outrageous. Ji Zixi on the side was a little speechless. This was the first time she heard someone dislike her for advancing too quickly. It seems that the effect of divine blood is a bit too strong for me. Su Yi thought about it. Deathwing's martial soul emerged from behind him in front of him. Compared with the huge body that blocks the sky and the sun, the phantom of Deathwing at this time is much smaller. However, it is about 3 meters high, with sharp dragon horns, claws and wings. The whole Wuhun looked full of violence. Compared to before, Deathwing is not very different. It's just that the skin color is darker, it seems to be tougher, and the power has also improved compared to before. Su Yi soon discovered some differences between his Deathwing spirit and the previous ones. You can't see any changes if you look directly at it. It's more intuitive to look directly at the system panel. Single quote. With a thought in Su Yi's mind, a pale blue system panel appeared in his mind. Host. Open black lens bracket Su Yi close black lens bracket. Level. Open black lens bracket extraordinary 7th order close black lens bracket. Soul point. Open black lens bracket 1232 close black lens bracket. Martial soul. Deathwing SSS level. Passive talents. Earth elemental control, advanced fire elemental affinity, dragon body, dragon might, prehistoric flame forbidden. Active talents. Magma flame 1/1, lava burst forbidden, cataclysm forbidden, berserk. Soul skills. Extreme flame crazy knife dachung, spirit sparrow step dachung, red dragon fist dachung, lightning slash dachung, thunderbolt hand dachung. Body forging. Anode immortal body, 2nd floor. The talent of the martial soul has changed. There is an extra earth element to control. And the violent talent has changed from a passive talent to an active talent. Su Yi's eyes brightened. The more martial soul talents, the stronger the soul fighter is. This is why everyone on the Blue Star is so fancy to the soul fighters with top martial souls. Unexpectedly, my Deathwing has already reached the SSS level, and it can still evolve. He was amazed. Even the Yunlong Pond promised by teacher Kai Wei only said that it can strengthen one's own martial soul. And the divine blood that he accidentally took directly gave his Deathwing an extra talent. It seems that the SSS level is not the limit of Deathwing. Quote. If the martial soul can evolve once, it can evolve a second time. With this evolution, Su Yi vaguely realized that Deathwing might not be able to start the second evolution. Of course, how AJFD can evolve a second time, he doesn't have much clue now. There is no option for martial soul evolution in the system, or there is not enough soul points, or there is no such function at all. Quote. In this way, if I want my martial soul to continue to evolve, the only clue is the blood of the gods. Quote. He said silently in his heart, and then turned his attention to the control of the extra martial soul talent Earth Element. Earth Element control, advanced fire element affinity, control seems to be higher than affinity. According to Su Yi's previous perception, there is only fire element in the surrounding air. At this time, not only is there an earth element, but the perceived amount of the earth element is much richer than the fire element. However, what he didn't know was, Mastery and affinity are two completely different concepts. Control means that he has the control of a certain element like a king. And affinity, the control over the elements, is much weaker. I remember that my eldest cousin in the previous life had the title of Guardian of the Earth. If I continue to evolve like this, one day, this talent will probably appear in my martial soul talent. Quote. A smile appeared on Su Yi's resolute face. Anyway, this time absorbing the blood of the gods, I made a profit. How is it? Do you feel any change? Seeing Su Yi standing there for a while, Jizixi couldn't help asking curiously. There is indeed a change, it seems that there is an extra martial soul talent. Su Yi replied. Although he can directly see the changes in his martial soul talent through the system, he can't directly explain it to the outside world. An extra martial soul talent. Jizixi suddenly became interested, quickly tried to see what kind of martial soul talent it is. Okay, Su Yi just wanted to try it too. I saw him thinking about it. All the surrounding earth elements appeared in his perception, including the gravel on the ground. This is a very strange feeling, as if everything is under control. Coagulation, he ordered. Rumble. Originally the cave collapsed, and the huge rubble lying on the ground started to vibrate slowly. Then quickly gather together. 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, 7 meters. Gravel and dirt are constantly gathering under Su Yi's control. In the end, it condensed into a huge stone titan with a height of 7 meters. Witnessing the whole condensation process, Jizixi opened his mouth slightly, his eyes widened. What kind of talent is this? How can there be such a terrifying ability to control the earth element? It's not that she has never seen the martial soul talent that mobilizes the earth element. But there has never been one with such power at the extraordinary level. What a big rock titan. This earth element control degree, is it the control level? Chen Bing and Zhang Berry walked over from not far away, and looked at the huge stone man in amazement. Boom. Since Su Yi used his ability to control the earth element with all his strength, his soul power was consumed extremely quickly. In just a short while, more than 1/3 of his soul power was taken away. He cut off his soul power with a slight frown, and the stone titan also collapsed, turning into rubble again. The soul power is consumed too quickly, and the perception range of the earth element is only 15 meters. Su Yi frowned slightly. He now has the advanced fire elemental affinity, which allows him to perceive fire elements within 40 meters around him. Although the control of the earth element is more powerful, the range of perception is much smaller. But it's okay, this kind of powerful earth element is in control. If used properly, it can achieve unexpected effects in fighting. Quote. Su Yi's current battles are basically fighting by leapfrogging. To deal with enemies below the Disha rank, the advanced fire element affinity is enough. But against enemies above the earth demon rank, advanced fire elemental affinity is not enough. The emergence of the control of the earth element just enriched his fighting methods. However, after going back this time, it's time to focus on attacking methods in terms of elements. Since the one who awakened teacher Daoyuan was the body-enhanced meteorite dragon, under his leadership, Su Yi also took the route of body forging. Advanced fire elemental affinity is basically in a state of casual use, and I haven't studied it carefully. Now, the control of the earth element has just been obtained, and it has revealed such a powerful power. It would be a pity if the means of elemental aspects were abandoned again. After Su Yi devoured the blood of the gods, in the vast Pacific Ocean, on a huge island. It is night in China at this time, but it is day in the Pacific Ocean. Roar, roar. Among the ferocious beasts, there are dozens of extremely rare giant dragon clan ferocious beasts, which are called mythical races, soaring over the island at this time. Under the sunlight, their huge bodies flapping their wings fell on the ocean, forming giant black shadows that were bigger than cruise ships. On the island surrounded by giant dragons, caves stand one after another. A ferocious giant dragon exuding a powerful aura is inhabiting it. Who has swallowed my essence and blood? Suddenly, a majestic sound with strange pronunciation came from one of the largest caves on the island. The moment the majestic sound sounded, all the giant dragons around stopped roaring. The entire island fell into silence because of this. In China, who swallowed my essence and blood? The sound seems to carry an echo, constantly echoing in the island. Isn't our essence and blood often absorbed and devoured by others? Another majestic voice sounded. No, this is different. In the past, even if humans absorbed my blood essence, I could still feel its existence. But this time, it was really swallowed up, and I can no longer perceive its existence. The previous voice sounded again. Humans, hateful humans, may have discovered a new method of absorption. Another voice said in a low voice. Humanity. The previous voice roared, and the entire island was shocked. Why hasn't the master started the second war? Destroy this weak race. Don't worry, the master naturally has his intentions, we just need to wait. I hope so. I've waited too long. My claws need human blood and honor. In addition, I need to understand how human beings devour my essence and blood. Black Eye, I need you to contact the human forces and come to a conclusion as soon as possible. Clear. The huge coercion that enveloped the entire island slowly faded away, and the entire island returned to its previous calm. On the other side, the Dongjong Wilderness area. Just as Su Yi was planning the next arrangement, a deep voice came from the side. This little brother is a student of the Demon City Soul Warrior University. You are. Su Yi looked at two middle-aged people standing beside him, a man and a woman. He saw two people walking over just now, but he didn't pay much attention. This is Zhong Berry Aunt, this is Chen Bing Uncle, they all received my distress signal and came here to save us. Ji Zixi introduced with a smile. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening, and the surroundings were pitch black. But under the bright moonlight, she can still see her crystal profile. Hello, Uncle Aunt, I am indeed a student at the University of Warlords in the Devil's City. Su Yi hurriedly shouted politely. Although neither of them exuded soul power, judging from the faint sense of oppression unintentionally exuded by the other party. The two are obviously the same Tiangong level soul warriors as Teacher Kai Wei. And the other party is Ji Zixi's elder, so it's not too much for him to call Uncle Aunt. However, Su Yi, who is aware of the strength of the two, is also somewhat puzzled. What is the origin of Ji Zixi? Not only does he have Rare's Horcrux, and when it was in danger, there were actually two Tiangong level soul warriors who came to protect them at the same time. Zhong Berry and Chen Bing nodded at the same time, with smiles on their faces. Although this child is talented and evil, he is still quite polite. Su Yi, do you know what kind of martial soul talent appears after your martial soul evolves? Chen Bing asked with a smile. It's about the affinity of the earth element. Su Yi pretended not to understand. To be precise, it is controlled by the 10 elements. Chen Bing said with emotion. This talent is extremely rare. Earth elemental control. Is there any difference from ordinary elemental affinity? Su Yi asked doubtfully. Now that he is not in school, if he can meet someone who is knowledgeable, he will naturally have to ask carefully. The difference is huge. Chen Bing shook his right hand slightly. Rumble. The stone titan that had just collapsed just now condensed again. It's about the same height as Su Yi's condensation just now, but it looks much more refined overall. My B-level martial soul, Earth Ring Grizzly, has a passive talent of primary earth elemental affinity. As for me, at least I have to use the soul power of the Earth Evil rank to condense a stone titan as big as you just now. Chen Bing let go of his right hand, and the stone titan collapsed, and, you should have felt it just now. As long as you want, you can snatch the control of the stone titan at any time. Su Yi nodded slightly. Indeed, as long as he wanted to just now, he could control the stone titan. What I just used was the soul power of the first level of Earth Sha, and you are only at the 7th level of Extraordinary. Scrambling for control over a large level, this is the dominance of the Earth Elemental control. Based on this situation, this Earth Element control talent is also called a King-level talent. Chen Bing sighed. Martial soul talent can only be possessed by martial souls above level A. B-level martial souls can occasionally appear, but they are extremely rare. He is one of them. In the early years, he was also proud of the affinity of this primary earth element. But as the level increased, he found out bitterly. He is not the only one who has an affinity for the earth element, but others too. The affinity for elementary earth elements is not bad, everyone has the same ability to control earth elements. But the affinity of medium earth elements is different, sometimes even his earth element soul skills will be affected by the other party. And when encountering an opponent of the same level as the advanced earth element, he basically has to be suppressed and beaten. Not to mention the control of the earth element. It is the king's talent that crushes all those who have the earth element affinity martial soul talent. With this evolution of Su Yi's martial soul, it will be a disaster for the owner of the earth element affinity talent of the Demon Capital Soul Martial Arts University. Chen Bing shook his head slightly. This is the tragedy of being in the same era as geniuses. King-level talent. Thank you, senior, for clarifying. Su Yi quickly thanked her. After the other party's explanation, the effect of his control over the earth element became much clearer at once. It's nothing, you're back at school, and the teacher will answer the questions for you. Chen Bing waved his hands and said, you should be taking the exercise route now, right? With his eyesight, he could naturally see the exuberant qi and blood in Su Yi's whole body. Well, the body training route is more lethal. Su Yi nodded. At the 6th level of extraordinary, he enters the anode state, and with the combination of berserk and soul power, he can kill the strong of the earth evil level. 0. Seeking flowers. Now enter the 7th level of extraordinary, under the enhancement of Deathwing's passive talent dragon body. His physique has increased a lot. Now he feels that even if he does not enter the positive state, he can kill that earth-shaking bishop. That was before. Now that your martial soul has evolved, the martial soul talent has an extra control of the earth element. Combined with the control of the earth element, using pure soul power and soul skills, the lethality is not weaker than your physical body. Chen Bing was a little emotional. Taking the body forging route has already been able to cross the ranks and kill the soul fighters of the earth evil rank. Now that the martial soul has evolved, there is another king element who can fight across levels. Combining the two, how strong Su Yi will be in the future, even he is a little uncertain. Pure soul power and soul skills. Su Yi's heart shuddered. What is a pure soul power soul skill? For example, the tiger claw, used by the Disha bishop was a pure soul power soul skill. It can be used without the aid of weapons. And of all the soul skills he has mastered now, none of them are pure soul power soul skills. All need to use weapons or flesh to display. It seems that after going back this time, I really need to learn more about this aspect. Nowadays, it is not ancient times, although he has worshipped Vice President Zhang Daoyuan as his teacher. But it is also possible to ask other teachers for the method of element training and practice. By the way, classmate Su, I haven't thanked you for saving our Xiaoxi yet. This is, Zhang Berry from the side inserted in, with a smile on his face. It's different from a woman like Kai Wei who has a delicate appearance and a plump figure. She looks common and has an average figure. But there is a touch of graceful aura on the body, which makes people feel a sense of peace when they see it. I just wanted to survive, so I fought hard. Su Yi smiled. It seems that student Su has experienced a fierce battle before. Zhang Berry said with a smile. Although the surroundings are pitch black, only the moonlight shines. But with her Tiangong level strength, it is natural to see the sharpness and firmness in Su Yi's eyes. That is a firm will that can only be tempered in life and death. Su Yi smiled and didn't speak. The previous battle was indeed the most dangerous battle he had ever experienced. But he also gained a lot. Student Su, we are going back to the base city, do you want to come with us? From here back to the Magic City, we will take you there, and it only takes about an hour to get there. Zhang Berry asked. Both of them are Tiangong ranks with the ability to fly, and each of them will carry one, which will basically not affect the flying speed. Don't bother the two of you, I'll go back tomorrow by myself. Su Yi shook his head slightly. Although according to his plan, he will go back to school tomorrow. But he has now advanced to the 7th rank of extraordinary. Go back on your own tomorrow, and use the beasts on the way to consolidate your strength. Okay, that brook, let's go. Zhang Berry turned to look at Ji Zixi. Aunt Zhang, I also want to go back tomorrow by myself. Ji Zixi blinked his big eyes, and said with a slightly red face. Zhang Bi raised her eyebrows, her eyes glanced back and forth between Su Yi and Ji Zixi. It wasn't until Ji Zixi buried his head in his tall chest shyly that he nodded and said. That's fine, you arrange it yourself, anyway, you still have a lot of horcruxes on you. Chen Bing, let's go. After finishing speaking, he pulled Chen Bing, who was still in doubt, soaring into the sky. quickly disappeared in pitch black 3. Why don't you go with me? After Chen Bing and Zhang Berry left, Su Yi looked at Ji Zixi. Because there are still exotic flowers and weeds that have not been dug. Ji Zixi straightened his chest proudly, and said confidently. With the remaining ruddy on the face, it looks extremely cute. I can't continue digging exotic flowers and weeds anymore, I have to leave immediately. Su Yi looked around. The cave collapsed, and many exotic flowers and plants have been buried in it. If you want to continue digging, it will be extremely difficult. And when those 2 Tiangong level powerhouses leave, the surrounding second level fierce beasts may attack at any time. Leaving quickly is the best policy. Alright, so where do we go next? Ji Zixi nodded, but didn't pay much attention. The most rare flowers and plants have been received by her in the backpack, and the rest are worthless. Moreover, this is just an excuse she made up casually. Her real purpose, of course, is to spend more time with Su Yi. You want to come with me? Su Yi frowned, 333, and heard what the other party meant. Don't you have the heart to leave me, a little girl, alone in this wilderness where wild beasts are rampant? There are second-order ferocious beasts here. Quote. Ji Zixi immediately showed a pitiful look. Su Yi was speechless. Carry a Horcrux with you, and if something happens, there will be a Tiangong-level soul warrior to protect it immediately. Are you still afraid of Tier 2 beasts? I believe in your evil. I'm planning to leave the wilderness area tomorrow, so I should go to the nearby Qingshui town to stay overnight. If you want to come with me, let's go now. Quote. Su Yi pondered for a moment and said. Qingshui town is the nearest dilapidated town from here. The proficiency of the fierce beasts inside is extremely rare, and the highest one is only the middle rank of the first rank. Just right for a night's rest. Okay, let's go now. Ji Zixi immediately restrained his pitiful appearance, and said with a smile. This girl. Seeing Ji Zixi's rapid change of mood, Su Yi's eyelids twitched slightly, but he didn't say anything. Qingshui County is about 5 kilometers away from the forest area at the cave. Normally, it takes more than 10 minutes to walk there. But now it's a dangerous night, and Ji Zixi only has an extraordinary 4th-order speed. Therefore, Tu Yi had to slow down. It wasn't until half an hour later that they reached the area of Qingshui County. Roar. Ah, night is the prime time for ferocious beasts to fight each other. In the dilapidated Qingshui County, there were roars of ferocious beasts one after another. After Su Yi and Ji Zixi quietly entered Qingshui County, they entered a building that looked solid without causing any commotion. After entering the building, the two found a relatively clean room on the 3rd floor and entered it. Let's stay here tonight. Su Yi walked around while scanning the surroundings. With the bright moonlight outside the building, it can be seen that the area of the room is not large, only about 70 square meters. It belongs to the simple structure of 1 bedroom and 1 living room. Excluding the kitchen and bathroom, the living room occupies an area of about 20 square meters, while the bedroom occupies an area of about 30 square meters. There are 2 beds in the bedroom. Although there is a lot of dust on them, they only sleep for 1 night, and they will be fine. Later, I will watch the first half of the night, and you will watch the second half of the night. After confirming that there were no beasts in the room, Su Yi came to the door of the bedroom and said to Ji Zixi. Although the fierce beasts in Qingshui County pose a low threat to them, but the necessary vigilance still needs to be maintained. Okay, then I'll go in first. At the door of the bedroom, Ji Zixi grinned, walked into his minister with slender thighs, and swayed around. She entered the bedroom with a wave of her jade hand, and a burst of light blue soul power burst out from her fingertips. Wow! The soul power circled around the room, taking most of the dust in the room out of the window. Immediately, the whole room looked much cleaner. Phew, it looks better this way. Ji Zixi stretched, and lay down on the bed with a bang. Su Yi also sat cross-legged on the other bed. I have to say that the quality of Blue Star furniture is really good. Even after hundreds of years, the bed is still not broken, and it is still slightly elastic. Let's practice the Great Sun Soul Energy Guidance method first. Su Yi's eyes are slightly closed. Entering the 7th level of Extraordinary, the soul power in his body has skyrocketed again. Now it is necessary to strengthen the cultivation of soul power and adapt to the changes of own soul power as soon as possible. Su Yi, would you like to chat with me? Just as he was about to recite the soul energy guiding formula silently, Jizixi's voice suddenly sounded. Su Yi opened her eyes, and saw Jizixi facing her on the opposite bed, lying on her side. The concave and convex curves are clearly revealed under the outline of the tight battle suit. Coupled with the other party's pretty face that looked a little lazy under the bright moonlight, her whole body exuded fatal temptation at this time. Seeing Su Yi looking over, she smiled and asked, "You are from the Demon City Soul Warrior University, so you should know Zhu Jinyu, right?" Zhu Jinyu. Su Yi didn't expect Jizixi to mention this name, but still nodded and said, "No, both of us used to be students of Modu No. 1 High School." As if seeing Su Yi's doubts, Jizixi explained. After a pause, he said again, "Modu No. 1 High School is the high school with the best teaching conditions in the entire Modu. There are soul fighters of the Disha rank to guide the fighting training, and there are top teachers to teach cultural courses. Under such teaching conditions, if you throw a brick at random in No. 1 High School, all the people you hit will be the top liberal arts students or martial arts students in the country." Quote. But even so, in Shanghai No. 1 High School, there is still a genius who overwhelms all other geniuses. She is the number 1 in fighting, actual combat, swordsmanship, and even the martial soul awakened later. If it weren't for your appearance, the martial soul she awakened this year could be called the most powerful martial soul in the entire Huaxia kingdom. Guess who this person is? Zhu Jinyu. Su Yi said lightly. He learned a lot about Zhu Jinyu's high school when he was competing with the other party. Nature is very clear. That's right, it's her. A complex look appeared on Jizixi's pretty face. The No. 1 High School is truly No. 1 in history. Countless students are fascinated by it. Countless students are crazy about it. This is the glory of the No. 1 student in Shanghai No. 1 High School. In high school, I tried to surpass her countless times, but all ended in failure. Even when it came time to choose a university, I deliberately didn't choose the same Soul Warrior University as her. It turned out that I didn't expect to meet you, who was in the same school as her." Her face was full of bitterness. Originally, this was something that had been hidden in her heart for a long time. In the end, for some reason, after meeting Su Yi, she couldn't help wanting to confide in her. Su Yi is playing the role of a listener very well at this time, listening quietly, did not speak. Just when he felt that he played the role well, Jizixi's voice sounded again. "Why don't you speak? Do you think I'm weak? I only know how to escape." Su Yi. Cough cough. Su Yi coughed dryly, knowing that if she didn't speak again, she might be beaten violently. So he said, "I just don't understand your feelings. I have fought with Zhu Jinyu many times, but almost every time I beat her. Now that I have absorbed the blood of the gods, it is even more impossible for her to beat me." Quote. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on Su Yi's face involuntarily. In the past 2 months, his strength has risen from the 3rd rank of extraordinary to the rank of extraordinary. He is very much looking forward to what kind of surprise Zhu Jinyu will be when he learns about his strength after he returns to school. Jizixi was at a loss for words when he heard the words. "I can't talk about it today." Inside the room, Jizixi looked at Su Yi angrily. There was a hint of resentment in her beautiful eyes. Originally, when she said what she said, she wanted Su Yi to comfort her. Unexpectedly, Su Yi is so ungrateful. Just when she turned her head away and sulked herself, Su Yi's voice sounded again. "However, why do you insist on being with Zhu Jinbao? What's the meaning?" Jizixi was slightly taken aback, and turned his head. He saw Su Yi looking at him. On his resolute and handsome face under the bright moonlight, there was a serious expression. "I mean, there are a lot of geniuses in this world. You have to compare them one by one, how tiring it is." With a smile on Su Yi's face, "Actually, as long as you improve a little bit from yesterday's self every day, it's already very good. As long as you can do this, believe me, you must be the one who laughs last." Quote. He is telling the truth. Since high school, there have been many college students with better family conditions and stronger abilities than him. But he didn't think about comparing himself with others every day. Instead, according to your own plan, slowly train and accumulate strength. When he came back to his senses, he was already the strongest student in the entire 3rd high school. "Are you getting better every day?" Zixi murmured thoughtfully. This truth, she naturally knows. But at this time, speaking from Su Yi's mouth is completely different from speaking from other people's mouth. There is a very convincing feeling. Of course, very few people can do this. Su Yi smiled. It is easier said than done to make a little progress every day, but how hard is it to do? If he hadn't possessed the memory of 2 lifetimes, and his willpower was far stronger than that of ordinary people, he really couldn't do this. Are there very few people who can do this? Zixi exhaled lightly, a look of determination flashed in his eyes. Since this is the case, let's try. Can I do this? As a descendant of the king-level powerhouse, her mind is naturally not that fragile. At this moment, when Su Yi said this, she also came to her senses and realized that she had gone astray. What she needs to overcome is herself first, and then, Zhu Jinyu again. As for Su Yi, Zixi looked at the resolute young man on the opposite side, feeling the strong sense of oppression belonging to the 7th level of extraordinary that the other party emanated wantonly. Just treat it as the ultimate goal. Unraveling the knot, a smile appeared on her face again, and said with a smile. By the way, you don't know which school I'm from, do you? I am from the Imperial Capital Soul Warrior University. When I return to Shanghai tomorrow, I will report to the Imperial Capital Soul Warrior University in a few days. Emperor Capital Soul Warrior University. Su Yi frowned, but she wasn't too surprised. Judging from the opponent's strength, if they are in the same age group as themselves, that would definitely be one of the top 3 universities for soul warriors in the world. After a pause, he asked curiously. In order to prepare for the 3-school league, Imperial Capital Soul Warrior University didn't let you report in advance. About the 3-school league, Kai Wei told everyone not long after the special training class started. Therefore, he also knows. Why not? It was just rejected by me. Zixi sat up from the bed, her slender waist straightened slightly. I think training at home is as effective as training at school, if not better. For people like them, the teachers in the school are actually not as effective as the strong ones arranged by the family. They went to Soul Warrior University more to make friends with geniuses from all over China. 2. Su Yi nodded. In the Soul Warrior University, the one who benefits the most is a commoner student like himself. Not only are there resources provided, but there are also top mentors from Huasha Kingdom to guide. 3-school league, it seems that this time it will be Wei Wuji University, your magical capital, who will take the first place. Zixi rested his chin on his right hand, and said sullenly. Originally, there was Zhu Jinyu in the Soul Warrior University in the capital city, which was already very powerful. Now, add another 3 months to the perverted Su Yi who has entered the 7th rank of extraordinary, possesses an SSS-level martial soul, and can cross-level kill the powerful souls of the Earth Sha rank. In this 3-school league, the other 2 schools have no chance to play. Don't be discouraged. In case I have something to do and can't participate that day, don't you have a chance? Su Yi smiled. Hee, I won't tell you anymore, I'll go to sleep first. Today, there is no way to talk at all. Zixi rolled his eyes, then he stopped looking at Su Yi and lay down on his own. After going through a life and death crisis, it was obvious that she was exhausted. Not long after I lay down, my breathing gradually became steady. Obviously entered a dream. This girl. Seeing this, Su Yi shook his head slightly, then closed his eyes slightly, and began to practice the soul energy guidance method. Early the next morning, the morning sun shone into the room. Su Yi, who practiced all night, opened her eyes and looked at Zixi on the opposite bed. Get up, it's time for us to leave the wilderness area. Should I change my vigil? Zixi woke up from his sleep in a daze, but found that the light was not on. Looking at the time on the communication watch, it was already 8 o'clock in the morning. You didn't call me last night. Only then did Zixi come back to his senses, and said with a smile. It seems that you still know how to pity the fragrance and cherish the jade. Can I say that I called you last night and you didn't respond at all? Su Yi was speechless. Soul fighters generally have control over their own sleep. In dangerous wilderness areas, they will enter light sleep. But last night, Zixi actually fell into a deep sleep. After he discovered this, he tried calling a few times. After he found out that Zixi couldn't be woken up, he didn't continue to try. Isn't that too tiring? Zixi blushed slightly, and patted her slightly upturned chest. Don't worry, you worked hard last night. When I go back later, I will recover from the beasts I encountered along the way. Forget it, it's fine if you don't get taken away by the beast. Also, I have to hone my strength again. Su Yi ignored her, turned over and jumped up from the bed. Although he didn't sleep all night, he didn't feel tired at all. Instead, I feel radiant. This is the benefit of entering extraordinary high level, the energy is much more abundant than ordinary people. Let's go, let's go. Su Yi put on his tactical backpack, and Zixi also packed his things. The two didn't stay any longer and left here quickly. When Su Yi and Zixi started to leave the wilderness area. Magic Capital Soul Warrior University, Number 6 Villa in District 1, training room on the second floor. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Zhu Jinyu was wearing a tight-fitting battle suit, and the light scar sword with soul power was danced out of sword flowers one by one. With her enchanting figure, she looks really good-looking. Laugh. The light mark sword stopped suddenly, and a faint black soul power rose from it. The basic swordsmanship training is over, and the next step is the training of Wuhun talent. She walked to the side with her round and slender thighs, and gently put down her black-rimmed glasses. Zhu Jinyu, who took off his glasses, had a faint black light in his eyes, and then his eyes were fixed. Kendo domain, open. With her as the center, an invisible wave spread out, covering entire training city. Let's start. She stuck out her red tongue and licked her sexy red lips. Whoosh. Next moment, she turned into a light black phantom, and she kept drawing swords in the training room at a speed 5 times faster than before. In fact, she is not short-sighted. Wearing glasses is also something that only after entering university. To ask why, that is because of a passive talent she obtained after awakening the SS-level martial spirit light scar sword, Eye of the Sword Spirit. Under the effect of the passive talent Sword Spirit Eye, she can not only see through a person's breath of life, emotions and desires. And when looking at others, there will be a special sense of kendo oppression. This sense of oppression is equally effective for soul warriors and common people. Common people, facing this kind of power suddenly, are likely to be frightened out of their wits. Therefore, she usually uses special glasses to suppress this special sense of oppression. And in the case of activating the active talent, Kendo domain, naturally there is no need to suppress it. The entire field of Kendo lasted for almost half an hour, and the group slowly dissipated. Who? In the middle of the training room, Zhu Jinyu panted lightly, her full chest rising and falling. It took a while for her breathing to calm down. Now, with the cooperation of the field of Kendo, I can barely break into more than 1,000 people. And Su Yi broke into the top 1,000 2 months ago. How on earth did he do it? Zhu Jinyu frowned slightly. 2 months have passed, and now, her strength has also been raised from extraordinary level 4 to extraordinary level 6. Even so, she tried her best, but still couldn't break into the top 1,000. But Su Yi had already done it 2 months ago. Now, after 2 months, he should be stronger. Zhu Jinyu said silently. During the 2 months Su Yi entered the wilderness area, she only contacted each other once a month ago. But they didn't mention strength, just chatting. Therefore, she didn't know to what extent Su Yi's strength had reached. However, even if his real combat power is stronger than mine, he is definitely not as good as me when it comes to martial soul level. A smile appeared on her pretty face. In 2 months, from the 4th level of extraordinary to the 6th level of extraordinary. This speed has already broken the school's record. And Su Yi, who has always been better at physical combat, has always been a step behind her in the cultivation of soul power. Of course, this is also because she has taken Tiansaidibao since she was a child, and there is a lot of soul energy in her body. As soon as he wakes up, he enters the 3rd stage of extraordinary and has a leading edge. Otherwise, simply comparing the cultivation speed of soul power, she still can't compare with Su Yi. Today is August 24th, and in 6 days, the school will officially start. Su Yi, she should be back soon. Quote, Zhu Jinyu murmured in a low voice, a look of longing appeared on her beautiful face. 2 months ago, when I gave Su Yi the speed necklace, she also felt that she just had some affection for him. But in the 2 months since the other party left, she found that her heart seemed to be empty, as if something had been lost. After training every day, when she walked to the dormitory, she would involuntarily look at the second floor of number 8 dormitory opposite. After discovering that there is no light on the second floor, the feeling of emptiness is even stronger. All these things made her realize she probably has more than just a crush on Suyi. Perhaps this is what I like. Zhu Jinyu's face became rosy. Resolute and handsome appearance, strong strength, firm and independent behavior. Everything about Suyi fascinated her deeply. However, it may be a little troublesome if you want your family to agree with Suyi. Thinking of the family's attitude towards civilian soul fighters, Zhu Jinyu frowned slightly. An SSS-level martial soul awakener with abnormal combat capabilities. It can be said that Suyi is the most enchanting genius in the last few decades of the Demon City Soul Warrior University. But what is genius? A genius is an immature soul warrior who has not yet grown up. There is still a long way to go before becoming truly strong. In this process, the probability of premature death is not small. And her family, the first thing they look at is strength. No matter how good your talent is, if your strength does not meet the requirements, you will not be recognized. Of course, if there is a strong background behind him, he can barely be recognized. But Suyi only came from a common background. Forget it, it's too early to think about this now, let's talk about it when we really get to that point. Now first of all, I still need my own strength to be strong enough. Quote. Behind her stood a huge family. A large family means a large number of clan members. In this case, if you want to get more resources from the clan, you have to perform better. Soon, she was immersed in training again. It wasn't until noon that I took a shower, changed into short-sleeved jeans, and walked downstairs. Zhao King, let's go to the cafeteria. Today is Sunday, and there is no need to gather for training, so she and Yan Lingqiang are staying in the dormitory. Xiao Yu, come here quickly, I'll show you something nice. On the sofa in the living room on the first floor, Yan Lingqiang, who was swiping her mobile phone, saw Zhu Jinyu come down, and waved quickly with a mysterious expression on her face. What good stuff. Don't be a scary video like last time, or watch out for your ass. Zhu Jinyu raised her eyebrows slightly and said. Last time, it frightened her a lot. Of course, in the end, Yan Lingqiang also paid the due price. How could it be a scary video? Mentioning the incident last time, Yan Lingqiang also blushed. Not a scary video, what would it be? Zhu Jinyu sat next to Yan Lingqiang, her round and slender legs stacked up and down. The tight jeans immediately outlined a seductive arc. It's about your little lover Suyi. Being mentioned as embarrassing, Yan Lingqiang immediately counterattacked with a slightly ruddy pretty face. Don't add any random names. Zhu Jinyu rolled his eyes, but still looked at Yan Lingqiang's phone screen curiously. Why do you have Suyi's video here? It was a video uploaded by people from Dongjiang district last night. Yan Lingqiang clicked the video play button. Roar. Accompanied by the sound of dragon chant like thunder. A ferocious black dragon appeared on the screen, surrounded by monstrous golden and red flames, illuminating half of the sky. Across the screen, you can feel the terrifying power. Is this Suyi's martial spirit? Zhu Jinyu's eyes were fixed. She often competes with Suyi, so she can naturally recognize each other's martial spirit. Yan Lingqiang nodded, a flash of light flashed in her beautiful eyes. Last night, a huge strange spirit appeared in the sky above the Dongjiang wilderness area, and countless beasts retreated. The entire Dongjiang district was shrouded in terror. Many citizens went downstairs to watch it, and many people took pictures and uploaded it. This is one of the clearest videos. It can be clearly seen that this is Suyi's SSS-level martial spirit Deathwing. After finishing speaking, she felt a little emotional. I don't know what Suyi did in the wilderness area, he actually created all the different phases of Wuhun. The different phases of the martial soul usually only appear when the martial soul is awakened. This time, she has learned a lot. No matter what Suyi did, his strength must have increased a lot. After watching the entire video, Zhu Jinyu showed a thoughtful look. Martial souls with different phases will not appear for no reason. This could very well be a sign of Suyi's massive improvement. The strength has increased again. Yan Lingqiang sighed, resting her chin on her jade hand, You are all too ruthless. One by one, your strength has improved so quickly. Although she is also a special recruit, compared with people like Suyi and Zhu Jinyu, she is much inferior. Up to now, it is only the strength of the extraordinary 4th level. Then you haven't worked hard yet. Zhu Jinyu stared. Let's go to eat now, and come back to practice after eating. She dragged Yan Lingqiang, who hadn't recovered from her senses, and quickly walked out of the dormitory to the school cafeteria. I thought that after 2 months of training, the gap between myself and Suyi should have narrowed a bit. But looking at it now, the gap between the two probably hasn't narrowed. Instead, it increased a lot. So, she still needs more training. On the other side, at the entrance to the Dongjiang Wilderness area, a young man and a girl were among the adventurers. The young man is tall, with a resolute and handsome face, a sword in his right hand, and a cold and evil spirit all over his body. On the right chest of his black battle suit, there is also a magnificent black gold phoenix mark. The girl next to him seemed to be only about 18 years old. She has wine-red hair, tall and slender, with exquisite appearance. The smile that appeared inadvertently attracted the faint attention of the surrounding soul fighters. Phew, you're back. However, I only stayed in the wilderness area for 1 day, but it felt like it had been a long time. Quote. Looking at the soul warriors walking around, and the towering supply base building not far away, Jizixi's whole body relaxed. Last night, I just experienced a life and death crisis, and now returning to the base city, it is naturally another feeling. Suyi smiled, looked at the supply base not far away, and said, I'm going to the supply base to get some things I stored earlier, you go first. I'm with you. Anyway, I'll go back to the central city of the Magic City with you later. Jizixi smiled slyly. After today, she will set off for the imperial capital. For the last period of time, she naturally wants to stay with Suyi for a while. After all, the other party was the first one of the opposite sex she would feel curious about and wanted to know more about. Also, Suyi pondered for a moment, then nodded. From Dongjiang District to Shanghai Magic City, it would take almost 2 hours even by train. If someone is with you, you can be regarded as a companion along the way. Yo, Boss Su is back. Boss did a good job this time. Suyi, you are back. Quote. As soon as he stepped into the lobby on the first floor of the supply base, many soul warriors spotted Suyi and greeted him with a smile. Suyi nodded to a few familiar people, and walked straight to the front desk regardless of the others. You're very popular. So many people know you and say hello to you. Jizixi said in surprise. I know very few people among them. Suyi said lightly. When he killed ferocious beasts and harvested soul points in Ling'an County and County, he saved a lot of soul warriors, and his strength was exposed. A genius with an extraordinary 9th-level combat power and a genius from a top soul warrior university, naturally many people are willing to make friends. Is that so? 1. Jizixi was taken aback for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. Hello, please help me check the backpack I stored here a month ago, number 2358. When he came to the front desk, Yinyi said to the staff. Before entering the wilderness area, he took a total of 4 school missions. He has already collected all the materials for these 4 school missions. When I came to the supply base last time, it was already stored in the service office on the first floor. The number is 2358. Mr. Suyi, right. Please show your adventurer certificate. Suyi handed over her adventurer certificate. Drip, the authentication is successful. The staff took the proof card and swiped it on the instrument. Mr. Su, your identity verification has been successful. Please wait in the hall for a while, we will deliver your package right away. Good. Suyi nodded, and sat down on a sofa in the hall with Wu Zixi. In the supply base, there is a safe and is specially used to store the packages of soul fighters. It still takes some time to take it out from the insurance curry and deliver it here. Suyi, are you familiar with Zhu Jinyu? On the sofa, Jizixi suddenly asked. It's okay, but it's just a regular exchange of ideas. Suyi replied with a smile. Often sparring, that's no ordinary familiarity. Jizixi said in surprise. When she was in high school, she never heard that Zhu Jinyu would often practice with the opposite sex. Instead, Those boys wanted to discuss with Zhu Jinyu, but they were rejected instead. Since you know her so well, do you know her background? Ji Zixi looked at Su Yi curiously. I know a little bit, she is a genius of the Zhu family in Shanghai. Su Yi nodded. Regarding the background, Zhu Jinyu once mentioned a sentence in front of him, but did not go into details. Then do you know the origin of the Zhu family in the magical city? Ji Zixi continued to ask. I've heard that the old man of the Zhu family seems to be a powerful man named King. It was the first batch of strong men who entered the rank of king. I don't know their names. Quote. Su Yi nodded. The old man of the Zhu family was the first batch of humans to awaken their martial souls. Participated in the war against the invasion of beasts. Almost 200 years have passed since now. The other party has already retired and no longer appears in front of the world. Of course, the Zhu family developed by the king-level powerhouses who have survived for more than 200 years is flourishing, with nearly 100 members in their direct lineage. It is also well known in the entire Magic City. You know quite a lot. Ji Zixi smiled slightly and said with emotion. It's hard to imagine that the king-level powerhouse of the Zhu family has lived for almost 250 years. Her father, Ji Wen. Although it is also a king rank, it has only risen in the last few decades. Very young, around the age of Tuantian. That's why she couldn't imagine what kind of state the 200-year-old Feng Wangji was in. The higher the strength and the better the physical fitness of a soul warrior, the less likely he is to age. And it is normal for a king-rank powerhouse who is close to the peak of the soul warrior to live for such a long time. Su Yi smiled. His teacher, Zhang Daoyuan, is almost 70 years old. But it still looks like a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s. This is the change brought about by the strength of the Fenghu rank. The king rank can live for more than 200 years, and the supreme rank can live for 300 or 400 years, so let's not talk about it. Su Yi sighed. If the strength of soul fighters can continue to improve, it is not a dream to live for thousands of years. After a while, Su Yi got his package of materials. This package is not very big, only about half a meter high. After getting the package and confirming that the materials in the package are all right, Su Yi and Ji Zixi left the supply base. As soon as I walked onto the square, I met Chen Wan and his party from Jiading Soul Warrior University. Yo, what a coincidence, Boss Su Yi, are you ready to enter the wilderness area? The leader, Chen Wan, greeted with a smile, with a teasing tone in her tone. When it was revealed that Su Yi possessed the 9th level of extraordinary strength, she was frightened. But after thinking about it, geniuses cannot always be deduced by common sense. At the very beginning, when the opponent beat Li Gao in the square, they might not have used all their strength. So, she quickly accepted this reality. And I am very fortunate that I can make friends with Su Yi. After all, many friends are many paths. Besides, he is such a tough friend. In the future, maybe I will have a time to ask others for help. No, Su Yi shook her head slightly, I'm ready to go back to school. There are still 7 days to go before school starts on September 1st. Originally, he planned to spend this period of time killing beasts in the wilderness to obtain soul points. But yesterday, Anode immortal body, broke through to the 2nd level, accidentally absorbed the blood of the gods, evolved the martial soul, and he also entered the extraordinary field level. The purpose of coming to the wilderness area this time has been successfully completed, so there is no need to stay in the wilderness area. After all, it is refreshing to act alone. But if you stay for a long time, you will feel lonely. For example, at this moment, he already misses his warm dormitory and familiar classmates. That's right, school is about to start, and we can't practice in the wilderness area for a long time. Chen Wan nodded. They had to go back to school after selling the materials this time. After a pause, she glanced at Ji Zixi next to her, and asked in a little surprise. Who is this? Beautiful appearance, tall and enchanting figure. When I met Su Yi on the 10th floor of the supply base last time, although there were 5 beauties around Su Yi, each with their own characteristics. But it was far from astonishing as the one in front of him. My name is Ji Zixi, and I'm Su Yi's friend, Ajeg. Before Su Yi could answer, Ji Zixi introduced himself generously. Ji Zixi. Chen Wan muttered something, then said with a smile. I am Chen Wan from Jiading Soul Warrior University, and they are all members of the civet team. Jiading Soul Warrior University. I've been there, and the scenery there is quite nice. There was a smile on Ji Zixi's pretty face. As a native of Modu, she has been to almost all the universities in Shanghai. Haha, although our school's teaching level is a bit poor, the scenery is indeed quite beautiful. Chen Wan smiled and didn't chat anymore. Su Yi, then I won't bother you anymore. Magic Capital Soul Warrior University is not far from Jiading. Come and play more when you have time. I will invite you to eat our special snacks when the time comes. Quote. Su Yi already has her contact information. As long as Su Yi thinks, she can be contacted. Must. Su Yi nodded. This is really not a polite word. In a few days, his cousin Su Hao will report to Jiading Soul Warrior University. At that time, he might really have to go there. See you next time. Su Yi waved his hand, and Ji Zixi also smiled at Chen Wan. Then he followed Su Yi and walked out of the square. Tisk tisk, as expected of a genius from the Demon City Soul Warrior University. It's only been a month since Su Yi's power has become much stronger. Scary, just now he was standing there, I felt as if there was a fierce beast there, and my whole body tensed up involuntarily. Yeah, I feel the same way. After Su Yi left, while the team members behind Chen Wan felt relaxed, they couldn't help showing surprise. This is the evil spirit that is naturally formed on the body after killing too many fierce beasts. Chen Wan was a little emotional when she heard the words. A month ago, the other party had this kind of icy aura vaguely. Now that another month has passed, this ferocious evil spirit has unexpectedly reached a level that ordinary soul warriors cannot bear. Simply scary. Being able to form such a vicious aura, there are probably thousands of beasts he killed during this period of time. I can't stop watching. I read the posts on the forum. He seems to have killed all the beasts in the 2 counties in the Dongjiang wilderness area. Kill them all. So scary. One of the female members of the civet team covered her mouth and exclaimed. Their team, even if they just enter the smallest county town in a wilderness area, they must be careful. It would be great if such a boy was my boyfriend. Another female player couldn't help murmuring. Hee, let's not mention the top-notch girl next to Boss Su just now. Let's just say that the 5 girls we saw with Boss Su a month ago are also among the best in body and face. With your slender figure, wanting Mr. Su to be your boyfriend is tantamount to wishful thinking. A male team member struck mercilessly. Yes, it's almost the same for our captain. Another male team member laughed. The Civet Cat team has been established for 2 years, and they are very familiar with each other. So when making a joke like this, you won't worry about destroying the relationship between each other at all. Chen Wan on the side suddenly raised her brows when she heard the words. Li Chang, your skin is itchy, right? Captain, I was wrong. As the captain of the Civet team, Chen Wan's aura is still very strong. When she glared, the boy who had spoken earlier immediately begged for mercy. I will forgive you this time, there will be no next time. Chen Wan gave a word of warning. Then he turned his head to look at Su Yi's tall figure leaving in the distance, with a vague complex look on his face. Although she is in Jiading Soul Warrior University, she looks pretty good. And the strength has also reached the 7th level of extraordinary. But she understands that she and Su Yi are people from 2 worlds. It's okay to be friends. It's impossible to go any further. Dongjiang district is about 50 kilometers away from the Magic City. After Su Yi and Ji Zixi left the Dongjiang supply base. By train, it took almost 2.5 hours to reach the city railway station. The Metropolitan Railway Station is an important transportation hub for the Metropolitan District and the confluence of the 10 surrounding administrative divisions. A large number of people pass by every day. Today is no exception. Inside the train station, people are coming and going, and there is a lot of voices. There are common people who travel and travel. There are also soul warriors like Su Yi and Ji Zixi who wear battle suits and have occasional flashes of light in their eyes. I'm in the city, I'm going back to school, how about you? Inside the train station, Su Yi asked Ji Zixi. I'm going home too. Ji Zixi sighed, a little bit reluctant. Although she and Su Yi have only known each other for 2 days, they have experienced life and death together, so naturally they have different emotions. And she will set off for the imperial capital in a while, so I don't know how long it will be until we see each other next time. Okay, see you next time then. Su Yi nodded slightly, and was about to leave. I saw Ji Zixi walking forward slowly, tiptoeing slightly, and then approached her pretty face under the envious eyes of many people around. Accompanied by the quiet virgin fragrance, a soft and warm touch appeared on Su Yi's right cheek. This feeling comes and goes quickly. When he came back to his senses, Zixi was already standing in front of him shyly. This is my thank you for saving your life. Her little face was flushed, and with the wine-red hair behind her, she looked as delicate and charming as a rose. Su Yi, see you next time. After finishing the last sentence, she didn't wait for Su Yi's response, and left the train station hall as if fleeing. This girl is really bold. Seeing the slim figure gradually going away, Su Chen touched his right cheek. Feeling the residual warmth of her lips, she shook her head and walked towards the exit of the train station. Now, it's time to go back to school. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, at the gate of the demon capital Soul Warrior University. Laugh. With the sound of brakes, a taxi stopped 10 meters in front of the school gate. The car door opened, and a tall young man wearing a black battlesuit and carrying a backpack stepped out of it. The fierce aura emanating from his whole body made many passers-by around him look sideways slightly. Came back. Su Yi looked at the familiar school gate not far away, as well as the buildings inside the school gate, and the towering energy-gathering towers, filled with emotion. 2 months ago, when he left school and set off for the wilderness area. It is only the 3rd level of extraordinary, and, the immortal anode, is only barely able to enter the 1st level. And now, 2 months later, stood in front of the school gate again. He is already an extraordinary 7th level soul warrior, and the extremely difficult, anode immortal body, is also the limit to enter the 2nd level. A body of strength can even kill weaker Earth Sha rank soul warriors. Moreover, when he set off, because he wanted to purchase the cultivation resources of the anode as immortal, the money on his bank card was almost spent. But now, on his bank card, there is a huge sum of nearly 40 million Washa coins obtained from selling the beast materials. It can be said that entering the wilderness area this time has completely achieved my goal. Even, it exceeded my expectations. A satisfied smile appeared on Su Yi's face, then he took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhu Jinyu's number. The bell rang 3 times, the phone was connected, and Zhu Jinyu's pleasant voice sounded. Su Yi, are you out of the wilderness? Well, I have already left Dongjiang district, and now I am in front of the school gate. Do you have time now? Let's go out for dinner. Quote, Su Yi said with a smile. During the 2 months in the wilderness area, he ate compressed biscuits or beast jerky most of the time. Occasionally, I also eat some nutrient solution. But these things can only fill you up, not satisfy your hunger at all. So, when he just came back, the first thing he did was to go out for a meal. Just called Zhu Jinyu together. It's free, just wait, I'll be right out. Okay. Su Yi nodded slightly, hung up the phone, and walked aside to wait. On the other side, the 2nd floor of Villa number 6 in District 1, the training room. After Zhu Jinyu, who was wearing a training suit, hung up the phone, she had a pleasant surprise on her face. Su Yi is back. Hearing this news suddenly, she couldn't tell what it felt like. But she really wanted to be by Su Yi's side right now. It's too late to take a shower, just change clothes. She quickly walked into her bedroom. Fortunately, she usually conducts physical soul skill training in the morning and soul power training in the afternoon. At this time, there is not much sweat on the body, so there is no need to take a bath. Zhao King, I'll go out for a while, you can go to dinner by yourself later. After changing into a set of regular clothes, she quickly walked downstairs and said to Yan Lingqiang who was on the sofa. Where are you going? Yan Lingqiang on the sofa said in surprise. Su Yi is back and asked me to have dinner together. Zhu Jinyu explained, and then said with a smile. Zhao King, I won't bring you with me this time. In the past, if nothing else, the two were basically inseparable. Go, I knew there would be such a day. Yan Lingqiang waved her hand, not surprised. Hey, then I'll go first. Zhu Jinyu giggled, and then walked towards the door of the villa with slender thighs. Su Yi, you are so charming that you even kidnapped Xiao Yu. Looking at the slim back that quickly disappeared from sight, Yan Lingqiang felt a little emotional. With Zhu Jinyu's figure and appearance, even she, a girl, is quite tempted. Let alone other boys. In high school, many boys pursued her. Each of these boys is extremely excellent, and many of them are descendants of consortium families and powerful feudal marquises. But without exception, all were rejected. I thought that after entering university, Zhu Jinyu would do the same. Unexpectedly, Su Yi was born out of nowhere and easily captured her heart. But yes, Su Yi is so excellent, it's normal for Xiao Yu to like it. In this world where fierce beasts run rampant and advocate force, a powerful person is more likely to be admired by others. And Zhu Jinyu has always been ranked first among his peers. Now there is a Su Yi who is stronger than her, and the character of the other party is good. It is quite normal for Zhu Jinyu to be moved. On the other side, Su Yi who was at the school gate hadn't waited for Zhu Jinyu yet. Instead, I saw two students from the special recruitment class. These are two girls, one named Yang Xiaomo, about 1.65 meters tall, with a good figure and a small and fresh appearance. The other girl is named Chen Yun, taller than Yang Xiaomo, but slightly weaker in appearance and figure. These two people got off the taxi and walked towards this side. "Ha, Su Yi, are you back?" Yang Xiaomo also spotted Su Yi. He was taken aback for a moment, then quickly reacted and greeted with a smile. "You're only coming back now, you've asked for 2 months' leave." "That's cruel." Chen Yun on the side immediately said that his words were full of envy. Teacher Kai Wei's training is extremely strict, and the amount of daily training is huge. She also wants to take 2 months of leave in a row like Su Yi. Unfortunately, with her extraordinary second-level strength, it is basically impossible to pass the leave. "Just came back." A smile appeared on Su Yi's resolute face. "Leave the wilderness area surrounded by ferocious beasts and return to the beautiful and peaceful base city." Seeing a familiar classmate again, he was naturally happy. "I heard that you went to the Dongjiang wilderness area, how is it? Is it dangerous in the wilderness area?" Yang Xiaoman asked curiously. Although she heard teacher Kai Wei describe the dangers of the wilderness area, she felt that she should listen to someone like Su Yi who is also a special student to describe it. Only then is it more real. "Of course it's dangerous." Su Yi nodded, pondered for a moment, and said, "During the past 2 months, just what I saw, there were no less than 20 soul warriors who died in the wilderness area. The wilderness area, although dangerous, can also make money. The flesh and blood of ferocious beasts, materials, and various exotic flowers and plants. The weaker soul warrior team can earn millions of Washa coins once they enter the wilderness area. Stronger teams can even earn millions at a time. Such a high return will naturally attract countless soul warriors to hunt and kill ferocious beasts." And when he was hunting fierce beasts in the county, he had encountered many such teams. If you are lucky, for example, Zhang Chuyu and his team can be rescued by themselves after encountering a powerful beast. But unfortunately, when he just arrived, the entire team had already been wiped out. "So dangerous." Yang Xiaomo was startled, subconsciously said. "It seems that teacher Kai Wei is right, it is best not to enter the wilderness area without the strength of the 3rd level of extraordinary. Even if you have reached the 3rd level of extraordinary, it is best to form a team and enter the wilderness area." Su Yi added, "The special recruits of the Soul Martial Arts University in the Demon City are naturally much stronger than the soul fighters in society. In the small wilderness area of the Dongjiang wilderness area, holding a map, forming a team, and proceeding carefully, there is basically no danger. Of course, if you encounter a terrifying beast that suddenly appeared like Zhang Chuyu's team encountered, there is nothing you can do." Next, Su Yi chatted with the two of them again, talking about some things that need attention in the wilderness area. "Thank you for your advice, your experience is really helpful." 5 minutes later, Yang Xiao and Chen Wei, who had harvested a lot of dry goods, thanked them at the same time. "It's nothing, you can go to the school's forum to read high-quality posts, and you can learn a lot of good things." Su Yi smiled. In fact, many of what he said just now are in the high-quality forum posts. But common students generally don't understand such details. "Understood, let's go to the forum to have a look later." Yang Xiaoman nodded. Seeing that Su Yi had been here since just now, she couldn't help asking curiously. "Are you waiting for someone?" "Yes, make an appointment to have dinner with others." "An appointment for dinner?" Is it Zhu Jinyu or Yan Lingqiang? Or An Ling Shuang? Yang Xiaomo called names one by one, with a teasing tone in his tone. In a special training class where geniuses gather, Su Yi, who broke into the top 1,000 on the local list and obtained the first sequence of permissions, is the most dazzling existence. Moreover, the most important thing is that almost all the beauties in this special recruitment class are gathered around the other party. Zhu Jinyu. Su Yi touched his nose. Oh, it's Miss Zhu. Yang Xiaomo was stunned, but he wasn't too surprised. In the special recruitment class, there have long been rumors that the two are having an affair. Then Su Yi, we won't bother you. See you tomorrow at Kai Wei's training ground. Yang Xiaoman finally said something with a smile, and then took Chen Yun, and the two walked into the school together. Why does it feel like they misunderstood something? Su Yi frowned slightly, but I didn't think too much about it. Concentrate on waiting for Zhu Jinyu, looking forward to the upcoming meal. I haven't seen you for 2 months, I feel that Su Yi's power is much stronger. Yeah, it seems that he has become a lot stronger after going out this time. On the other side, Yang Xiaomo and Chen Yun who entered the school were discussing with emotion. Although they recruit special students at the same time, compared with Su Yi, they are completely in two worlds. The other party has already started to move freely in the wilderness area, but he and others are still receiving training in school. Hey, look, is that Zhu Jinyu? Suddenly, Chen Yun looked forward. Not far ahead, a tall girl with black glasses and a single ponytail was walking quickly. It's really her. Yang Xiaoman frowned. It seems that Su Yi and Zhu Jinyu's affair is almost a stone hammer. Although some people in the special recruitment class had discussed it before, they were only limited to seeing the two of them sparring alone. But now, just after Su Yi came back from the wilderness area, she called Zhu Jinyu alone. The relationship among them is naturally not simple. Yang Xiaoman, Chen Yun, you just came back from outside. While the two were talking, Zhu Jinyu also spotted them and greeted them with a smile. It's a rare Sunday, go out and relax. By the way, you are looking for Su Yi, right? He is on the right side of the school gate, go quickly. With an inexplicable smile on Yang Xiaoman's face, she pulled Chen Yun away after speaking. How do they know? Zhu, 010, Jinyu blushed, thinking that Su Yi was still waiting for him over there. Without thinking too much, he walked quickly to the school gate. This section of the road from the dormitory in District 1 to the school gate. Under normal circumstances, it takes about 10 minutes to get there. As for Zhu Jinyu, walking quickly, it only took 7 or 8 minutes to reach the school gate. Looking to the right, he saw Su Yi wearing a black suit not far from the side. Su Yi, Zhu Jinyu yelled softly, with a smile on his face, and walked slowly over there. Hearing the sound, Su Yi turned to look this way. Then he was slightly taken aback. Even in this afternoon in the magic capital in August, the weather is very hot, and the students entering the school are dressed very coolly. And Zhu Jinyu is no exception, wearing gray short sleeves and a black skirt. But different from common girls, her upper body was originally loose with short sleeves, but was actually propped up high by her full breasts, creating a tight-fitting effect. And because she has an excellent waist-to-hip ratio, while the tight short sleeves outline her slender waist, people can't help but look down. Then, one could see that under her pure black short skirt, a pair of jade legs were round and slender. While not too sensual, it doesn't look so slender, which perfectly meets the standard of being slightly fat. Such a simple dress, common girls will not have any strange things in it. But being dressed like this by Zhu Jinyu, her proud figure was revealed everywhere. Coupled with her beautiful face with a touch of rosy, she looks extremely charming. Here we come. Su Yi quickly came back to his senses, and nodded. At the same time, I feel emotional. I haven't seen this girl for 2 months, why does she feel that her figure has improved again? Even he couldn't stand it. When he was 1 meter in front of Su Yi, Sheng Lin stopped. Standing still in place, Mei Mo glanced up and down, looking carefully. Compared with 2 months ago, Su Yi's figure is a bit taller. Although there is still a slight sense of oppression all over the body, it is much more restrained than before. However, this restrained sense of oppression does not make people feel that humans and animals are harmless. Instead, there will be a sense of mystery that cannot be underestimated. What? I haven't seen you for 2 months, so you don't recognize me? Su Yi frowned. I haven't seen you in 2 months. I have to see what changes have taken place in you, a master of Su University. With a smile on his face, Zhu Jinyu walked slowly to Su Yi. Where shall we eat? Just the Zhongnan residence next door. Su Yi thought for a moment and said. There are many hotels and restaurants next to the Demon City Soul Warrior University. Zhongnanju is one of the well-known restaurants. Hearing the name, one can tell that it is the cuisine of his hometown Zhongnan province. He and Ling Shuang, Zhao Ruo, and his roommate Zhang Yi have eaten there a few times before. Although the price is a bit expensive, it still has the taste of hometown. Okay, Zhu Jinyu nodded slightly. It doesn't matter what you eat, as long as you can stay with Su Yi. She felt peaceful and comfortable. I've been away for 2 months. Has anything major happened in school? On the way, Su Yi asked with a smile. In the past 2 months, although he went back to the base city several times, he didn't pay much attention to the things in the school. Nothing serious happened. With a warm smile on Zhu Jinyu's pretty face, after you were listed as the first sequence, it caused quite a stir in the whole school. Many people from teams and associations even came to our training ground. Quote. Really? Su Yi frowned. He knew that the news that he was listed as the first sequence would definitely cause a sensation. It's just that, I didn't expect that these people didn't find me, but actually went to the special recruitment class training venue. That's right, and also, the person we beat that night was a descendant of a Tiangong level tutor in the botanical college. He originally wanted to ask his father to come forward, but after learning that you have the first sequence of permissions, his father gave him a serious lesson, and now he is being grounded. Quote. Haha, then he deserves what he deserves. By the way, how are you doing in the wilderness area during this time? Do you need the necklace I gave you? Fortunately, there is no danger. Your necklace has no chance to be used. That's good. I was worried that the Horcrux I gave you wasn't strong enough. Seeing Su Yi, Zhu Jinyu, who has always been quiet, became lively and kept talking. And Su Yi also responded with a smile, and the two chatted like this, while walking to the side of the Demon City Soul Warrior University. Live in Zhongnan, Su Yi spent a full 100,000 Huasha coins to fill his stomach. Zhu Jinyu was a little surprised when he saw this. You must know that many of those dishes are made with first-order advanced or even second-order ferocious beast meat. Although the taste is good, the Nengwang contained in it is also extremely high. Common's extraordinary 4th and 5th tier soul warriors will feel full immediately after eating a few pieces. But Su Yi has nothing to do and eats with great relish. This shows that Su Yi's strength is probably stronger than she imagined. But because she wanted to discuss with Su Yi later, she didn't directly ask Su Yi what strength he is now. That way, there is no sense of expectation. Zhu Jinyu was surprised, but Su Yi was also a little surprised. You know, although most of those dishes just entered his stomach. However, a small part was eaten by Zhu Jinyu. And that small part is 3 or 4 times the weight of common female soul fighters. But looking at Zhu Jinyu's full and proud chest, Su Yi suddenly came back to his senses. Also, without such a large appetite, it is impossible to have such a good figure. After dinner, Su Yi and Zhu Jinyu came out from Zhongnan residence. It was already 8 o'clock in the evening. The two didn't hang around, and went back to school directly. Su Yi, are you free later? Let's compete. In front of number 8 dormitory in District 1, Zhu Jinyu asked with a smile. It seems that you have made great progress in the past 2 months. You are so anxious that you want to compete with me. Su Yi frowned. That is. Zhu Jinyu straightened her chest, with a hint of cunning in her eyes. Very much looking forward to seeing Su Yi's surprised appearance when he entered the 6th level of extraordinary later. That must be very interesting. Thinking of this, she couldn't wait to say. I'll go back and change my suit first, you go back to the dormitory and wait for me. Okay, Su Yi nodded, watching Zhu Jinyu walk towards the opposite dormitory, and he himself also stepped into villa number 8. The living room on the first floor of dormitory number 8. Zhang Yi was sitting on the sofa watching TV. When she heard the sound of the door opening, she turned her head, saw that it was Su Yi, and said in surprise. Brother Su, are you back? Well, I just came back from the wilderness area today. Su Yi smiled slightly. Dongjiang Wilderness Area, although it took more than 2 hours to go there. But much better than some inland provinces. In many places, there are no wilderness areas within the province, and it is even necessary to enter and exit wilderness areas across provinces. Once back and forth, the day passed. Hey, Brother Su, you've gained a lot this time, right? Zhang Yi looked at the tactical backpack behind Su Yi and laughed. It's okay, I have completed 4 school tasks, and I will submit them tomorrow. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the task building was closed. Therefore, he is going to submit the task tomorrow. Anyway, there are still a few days before the deadline for the completion of those 4 tasks. 4 school missions. Zhang Yi stared and said in surprise, then you won thousands of credits in one go. With Su Yi's strength in the top 1,000 in the local list, the task he accepted must not be a common task. For a task, the reward is likely to be around 10 credits. 4 tasks, that's 40 credits. According to the conversion of 10,000 Huasha coins for 1 credit, that is 400,000 Huasha coins. What's more, the usefulness of credits is far stronger than that of Huasha coins. Dozens of credits. You think too little of the school's task rewards. Su Yi smiled and stretched out 2 fingers. The rewards for each of these 4 tasks are around 50 credits. In other words, as long as I submit the task, I can get more than 200 credits. Quote, credits are completely different from Huasha currency, and they cannot be exchanged for each other. Therefore, Su Yi is also very happy to earn 200 credits. In this way, he can also exchange some resources he needs from the student system without relying on teacher Zhang Daoyuan. 2. More than 200 credits. Zhang Yi choked. The family he was born in is not good, which is the most common family standard. At the beginning, when he was specially recruited by the Demon City Soul Warrior University, he was shocked by the 500,000 admission fee he received. And now, Su Yi has actually earned more than 200 credits from school tasks in one go, which is equivalent to 2 million Huasha coins. 2 million Huasha coins. This is a number that he can't even imagine. 200 credits is nothing to us soul warriors. Work hard, and one day you will be able to do it too. Quote. Su Yi patted Zhang Yi on the shoulder and walked straight to the second floor without further words. Zhang Yi's martial spirit and talent are good, but it's a pity that he lacks a strong heart. Always lazy. In the month when I was still there, Zhang Yi was better, and the training was very serious. But just now Su Yi sensed it as soon as he entered the door. But I found that Zhang Yi's strength has only improved a little compared to 2 months ago. It means that the other party must have relaxed again in the past 2 months. If it were anyone else, Su Yi wouldn't care about it. But Zhang Yi is her roommate and brother Su Hao's best friend. He just mentioned it more, hoping to inspire Zhang Yi's enterprising spirit. At least, the training courses you learn must be serious, right? Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.